S-foils in attack position. Red 5 standing by. Hey everyone, Matt Haywood, and we are back. And by we, I'm talking about my buddy, my partner in crime, my Star Wars freak, Nick Kimity. We're back, and I know we took a long time off of our Star Wars Buddhacast here at the Entertainment Buddha Radio Network, but it's the summer and we got shit to do that involves doing nothing. So we're back from our vacations. We're ready to talk about Star Wars, and quite frankly, there hasn't been much to talk about until, of course, this past week, and unfortunately today we have some sad news to discuss. If you're a hardcore Star Wars fan, you probably heard that R2-D2 himself, Mr. Kenny Baker, died at the age of 83. He played the role of R2-D2 in the original trilogy as well as the prequels, and he's just a great little guy. So R.I.P. Kenny. We might have some more words for him later on, but we're here to talk Star Wars, and Nick and I, we've been chomping at the bit to get back on the mic, and we thought we were gonna get on the mic around Star Wars Celebration Europe, which happened mid-July, it was the week before SDCC, but quite frankly, it yielded nothing.
Yeah.
It was one of the. Didn't you think, Nick? It was one of the first celebrations, framed around the movies where we didn't get dick shit.
There was a lot of hype going into Celebration about we're gonna get a new trailer. That was the word out. We're gonna get a new 3-minute long trailer. It's gonna be awesome. Gonna see a bunch of new stuff from Rogue One.
Yep.
And what ended up coming out of it was a 3-minute behind the scenes. And we really didn't get that much new stuff. Obviously, you got a few little sound bites from the actors. You got to see some cool, working behind-the-scenes workings of them doing shots on specific planets, them doing shots on new ships and stuff like that. But you really, in terms of something new to see for the big hardcore Rogue One fans out there, there wasn't much. So it was a little bit disappointing. We didn't even get any kind of new announcements on games, because that's what everybody's been waiting for too. I mean, we've had Star Wars Battlefront release since EA has taken over the reins of the Star Wars franchise, but we haven't really seen anything else other than that. So it was a little disappointing if you're a Star Wars fan. When you think Celebration, you think big announcements, you think new things, but really we didn't get much.
Well, especially when we're in the midst of this explosion of new Star Wars properties. I mean, they officially announced the new Han Solo, whatever the hell his name is, Alden Aiden Ehrenreich or whatever. I actually saw him in Hail Caesar. He's a pretty damn good actor, so I think he can pull it off. And didn't they reveal that it's now going to be a trilogy of young Han Solo films instead of just a standalone?
I didn't hear that and I didn't see it, but I mean, it would be, man, if you're going to go trilogy, I think it would be, if you're going to do a trilogy, I think you have to wait until after the first movie to announce it. You have to see how the first movie does, and then, if it tanks, you just don't go any further with it. But if it does well, then you can go a little bit farther.
I don't see a Star Wars movie ever tanking. I mean, hell, we made it through the prequels without them tanking, and I think all of them but Attack of the Clones are fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's true. You're right.
What the hell do we know? I don't think a Star Wars movie can ever tank. There's too many nut job loyalists like us out there, Nick. But it makes sense. But I think they know obviously the popularity of the character. And like I said, the actor, I'm getting behind him now. He is very good at doing his job. I mean, he played a great kind of doofus Western actor in Hail Caesar. But, hey, if they do a trilogy, they got to start pre-Chewbacca, right? I mean, it's got to be Han Solo, the potential Imperial flunky, him meeting up with Chewbacca in the first one. Then the second one, they're, kind of doing more than the third one, possibly leading up to their shit with Jabba that gets them in trouble before A New Hope. So who knows? that's not really what we're here to talk about, because there still, as we're saying, from Celebration, just nothing. I mean, they didn't even like tickle our dicks here. We didn't get a Star Wars Episode 8 title, nothing from Episode 8. I mean, Rian and his cast and crew, they were a little more open than JJ's turn on this new trilogy of Star Wars films, but we still don't know dick. Besides, Rian did come out and say this is the first Star Wars movie or sequel that will literally pick up right where
it
the
makes
last one
sense.
ended.
You can't really end 7 on a cliffhanger like that and then not come back to it.
Well, that's what he said. That's what he said. He's like, I love the scene, but there's no way we can just blow off Luke's first words to Rey and just jump ahead, and they're hanging out and training. So, yeah, it's the first time ever. You're gonna the credits wrap on 7. They roll on 8, and bam, we're going to pick up probably with Rey standing there with her hand outstretched to Master Luke. So that's really all we got out of Celebration. Now, someone like me that loves Funko Pops is fantastic, because there was 4 exclusive Pops. We got 4 Lam. We got award ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
This would be the Yavin award ceremony, Han and Luke, as well as... Oh, damn it. What was the last one? I think, Bespin Encounter Luke Skywalker. This is the little dude holding his little stumpy arm up after his dad cut it off.
Awesome.
So they're beautiful Pops. I have them. They've been photographed. They're not ready to roll out there, but you can just, follow @HeywoodPop on Instagram and you'll get them someday. So, yeah, that was Celebration, whatever. We weren't there. It sucked. I wish I was there. I haven't been the one since the Star Wars Celebration 3, which was for Revenge of the Sith. But I'm going to try to get to the next one in the States, hopefully, which will be next year to obviously promote Episode 8 release. All right, so what are we here to talk about? We're not here to just chit-chat. We're here to talk about the most recent Rogue One: A Star Wars Story trailer, which dropped Thursday. Very cheekily, I wouldn't even say cheekily, I'd say cleverly by NBC at almost the tail end of their Olympic coverage. I mean, I figured this thing would drop during prime time, 8, 9 o'clock, maybe 10. I mean, they held on it until almost 11 before they dropped the new trailer, which was, hey, you got to keep people hooked. You got to get those ratings books up. But it came out, and it was pretty damn good. I think Nick and I were talking before we went live here. It really showcased what Gareth Edwards can do with a camera crew. Fantastic cinematography. The shots are epic. Probably some of the most epic shots we've seen in a Star Wars. I wouldn't even say probably. I'd say they are, right? These are just a trailer, people. We don't even know what the fucking full film's going to look like. But don't you think, Nick? I mean, some of those shots, I know there's 3 in particular that just stand out, and you're like, holy shit, I've never seen this before.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible, because, I mean, obviously there have been some great directors that have done Star Wars movies in the past. I mean, you had Irvin Kershner, you had Lawrence Kasdan, who's still a part of the Star Wars family in terms of writing. Lucas, you can say in his early heydays, he was a great director. He was a good director and good writer. And then obviously you had J.J. Abrams for Episode 7. But I've never seen shots like this before in the Star Wars universe. I mean, it's beautiful. The first shot that really sent chills down my spine is the one where you have the Star Destroyer coming out of the shadows of space. And I'm just like, holy shit. You look at it and you see the level of detail. The crazy part is I can't tell if this is a practically made model or if this is CG. The level of detail is staggering. And I mean...
Which is awesome. I mean, because we don't want a prequel. And I don't think we'll ever see... I honestly think the prequels were a product of their era. George was championing digital filmmaking, and other filmmakers were like, holy shit, we can create all these characters without hiring real people, and blah! We got a lot of movies that were just kind of Star Wars prequel-ish. That's kind of disappearing. I mean, yeah, we still have huge green screen projects like, The Jungle Book, which actually looked pretty damn good. And what was it? Sci-fi movie I just recently saw, and it just had some glaring green screen work going on, but whatever. So I think we're back to a era of filmmaking where the technology has gotten so damn impressive, as Nick said, that could very well be a digital shot of a Star Destroyer. Or it could be a model. It could be a mix of the two. We just don't know anymore. I mean, I didn't see one shot in this film outside of obviously the fantastical planets that didn't look real
absolutely.
world.
And I mean, that even comes down to the Star Destroyer. There are so many shots in this trailer that just are awe-inspiring, and we'll talk about most of them. And if you haven't seen the trailer, for the love of God, stop this podcast, go watch the trailer, and come back, and then
yeah, do that. Hit pause. It'll still be here. Don't worry. Check that shit out, and then come back and kind of listen to us talk about really shot for shot. I mean, Nick, thank God, I was on vacation last week. Nick was able to jump in, fill in my shoes to do the analysis of this trailer. So basically, we have it on the site right now, entertainmentboo.com. If you don't feel like looking for it, you can go to the bottom right of the page. It will be in the spotlight section there for quite some time. But anyways, I basically took the screenshots of the major new stuff. I mean, really, the trailer featured almost all new footage. It was all new dialogue, all new footage for the most part. I mean, I think some of the shots from the Rebel base when they're kind of debriefing Jyn
that
were used again, but for the most part, it was all new shit. So let's just get into it. What do you say, man? We'll just start. And I'm just going right off of your post, to be honest with you. So we get this opening shot, and Nick's thinking it's Tatooine. I don't know if I'm sold on that yet, and the only reason I'm saying I'm not sold on it, and it's from probably one of my favorite shots from the trailers when the Death Star blacks out the sun. You even put in your write-up Tatooine has two suns, but the two suns are right next to each other, and in that shot, you don't see the other sun.
The way that I kind of rationalized it, I remember the shot, because I remember the shot of Luke standing there as the twin suns were kind of right next to each other, and I was thinking,
right, you got like one a little higher than the other, but I was like,
maybe
close.
One had already kind of gone down below the horizon. But you're right, because I even say in there, that it might not be Tatooine in the breakdown. But like for now, I'm just kind of putting Tatooine in there as a placeholder. Like I said, original trilogy time period, clearly a desert planet. I mean,
well, I don't. I mean, you may be right. You could be exactly right. I mean, if we really want to get scientific on this shit, I mean, the sun could potentially be behind the other sun at this point in time in the day, or the month, or the year. Who knows? But it just, to me, you had that singular sun. Bam. Are they really going to be focused on Tatooine, or are they going to try to introduce a new type of desert planet? Who knows? I mean, I wouldn't be upset either way.
If you look at this first shot too that we talk about in the post breakdown, it's a lot like the landscape is different than Tatooine. At least the Tatooine that we know.
It's not though. Well, go back to Jedi. Look at the shots around Jabba's palace.
Yeah, good point.
Very mountainous, the Red Rockies, which we're seeing in here. Even in A New Hope, when R2 goes off by himself and gets captured by Jawas, he's in kind of this Red Rocky Grand Canyon type of look. So it could be just the one thing I'm really like, maybe not. It was that one shot, but who knows? Maybe Gareth and he hit up Neil deGrasse Tyson. They decided that at this time of the year, at that time of the day, Tatooine's second sun would actually be hidden by the other. Who knows? Either way is a great shot. We'll get there eventually. But we had this opening shot. Definitely, as Nick mentioned, it's some sort of a spaceport. I mean, it looks like a Mos Eisley. It looks busier than Mos Eisley or Mos Espa, which we saw in the prequels. So, who knows? Very well could be Tatooine. We don't know. Now, I kind of felt like the trailer, for the most part, was following some sort of chronology.
Yeah, I would imagine
a chronological timeline. And really, I think the gist of the film now, Nick, and you'll have to kind of chime in if you think I'm way off. It's obviously we're going to establish Jyn as this rebel, not really even a rebel, just kind of a troublemaker that the rebels have locked up, and they, kind of want to. I'm assuming they're going to pull her out of the jail once they figure out that her dad is potentially working on the Death Star. We kind of already know that Mads Mikkelsen, or whatever the fuck you say his name is, his character is her dad. And her dad is some space scientist that everyone wants to find, just kind of like in Episode 7, everyone wants to find Luke. In Rogue One, everyone wants to find Jin's dad. So I'm assuming the rebels are like, all right, this girl's dad is very important. He is potentially going to give the Empire, or he has given the Empire, the secret to create the turbo laser that can blow up planets. So let's get this girl to maybe get revenge on her dad. Maybe there's some bad will. Who knows? So they established that. But I think after that, and like you point out, what's his name? Is it Anders? Captain Anders?
Yeah. Cassian Andor.
Yeah, he pretty much says, you know what, I'll go with you. And it seems like the two set out as the two of them. And I think a bulk of the movie is going to be going to these disenfranchised planets or finding these potential known rebel leaders and kind of saying, hey, this is what's going down. You guys in or
Yeah,
not? Because didn't you feel that way? It's like they went and found Baz or Baze on that kind
rainy.
of
Yeah,
almost yeah, I mean, I know it's not Camino, but it had that look to it, like the night Camino
yeah,
shots. And you know his buddy there is what's his name, Cherry or
yeah.
Chiri
Chirrut Imwe. I mean,
Chiri.
I mean, it looks like it does definitely look like they're going on kind of a recruiting mission in the beginning because, like we see, you have the desert planet, which is the first shot, really busy. You can see the Imperial landers and some TIE fighters flying overhead, so it's clearly under Imperial control. And then, you know, a little bit farther along in the trailer, you see Baze Malbis, him fighting with what I assume is rebels on some other. It's definitely a different planet. Rainy. He looks like he's in some sort of a canyon. And then you get back down to Chirrut, and he looks like he's on a different, perhaps a different desert planet than Jin and Cassian started on. So yeah, I could definitely see there being like maybe the first act of the movie is like the recruiting phase. You know, they're going to get the guys that they need to in order to carry this out.
Oh yeah, I think that'll make up a bulk of it. I mean, I think the last act obviously is going to be dedicated to the mission and what happens there. So yeah, well, we the only shot I think is out of order is the very first one of the dialogue between Jin and Saw.
Yeah.
Saw's played by Forrest. I do like Forrest Whitaker. I don't know. He just looks weird in this movie. He looks like Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah, he's definitely not dressed up in any way. And granted, they kind of gave him. I mean, if you remember Saw Gerrera from the cartoon, which like I'm just getting to his arc now because I've kind of taken a break on watching it a little bit, but I'm almost finished. I'm on season 5. His character looks similar. I mean, like the main thing that they gave him is like that gray streak in his hair, which Saw had in the cartoon series.
Well, it's just, I mean, Forrest Whitaker, let's be honest, he has a very distinct
Yeah.
look. I mean, he has that lazy eye. That's part of what has made him who he is. I mean, I'm not saying he's, you know, because his eyes fucked up that he shouldn't be in Star Wars. It just, he's just one of those iconic faces that it's hard to see a character
Behind it, yeah.
behind the
Yeah,
actor.
it's very true. But then, like, he's an incredible actor. And granted, like, you're going to look at him and say, like, this is Forrest Whitaker, but I'm also going to assume that he's not going to, like, he's going to play a minimal role that might not get out of, like, the middle of Act 2. I'm not going to say he's going to die. I'm just saying that, like...
I bet he does. I mean, I was going to say, there's probably a good chance after he meets Jin or he's toast or he dies trying to get her onto her next planet or mission or whatever.
Yeah. So it's possible that he died. I don't think that he's going to be a lasting figure in the movie. Obviously, the main duo that we're going to be focusing on here is Jin and Cassian. And like you said...
Oh, yeah. I think they're the Han and Luke, or, you know, they're the driving stars.
Yeah, and like you said too, we got a little bit once we get past the little dialogue scene between Jin and Saw, we get right into the reintroduction of Jin into the trailer, and we get a little bit more context because we have one of the rebel, I would assume one of the rebel higher ups tell her, like, can you be trusted without your shackles? Which, like, before in the previous trailer, we were like, okay, they might have just taken her in from one of her, like, you know, one of her little excursions that she went on to sow discord in the, throughout the rebellion or whatever. Because it seems like she's not really loyal to either side. She's just a miscreant. She's just a troublemaker for both sides. So it looks like the rebels may have captured her and then imprisoned her. At least that's what I gathered from that line.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. I think she's in prison when we meet her. If not, we see why she ends up in prison, and maybe it skips forward a little bit. But like you said, the dialogue hints that this girl is possessed to a point where the rebels kind of fear and respect her based on whatever the hell trouble she's gotten herself into. I mean, it sounds like she's just... I don't want to say she's a ne'er-do-well, but she is a rebel. I mean, she even probably rebels against the rebellion. That's what it sounds like. But eventually, and I really think it's going to be something with her dad, and they're going to be like, all right, we need this girl. We got to fucking unlock her, let her loose. Hearing this about her dad will maybe motivate her to do something good.
Yeah, I mean,
that's where I'm at. I mean, it sounds like she's a pretty bad egg, I would assume.
yeah, and that was actually one of the surprising things in this trailer is that we didn't at least get a shot of Galen Erso, Mads Mikkelsen's character. Like he's definitely been the most. I mean, like even in comparison to Darth Vader, he's been the most shrouded character in this movie. You know, we don't really know who he is. All we know is that like he is somebody that is being hunted. Well, I don't want to say hunted, but like he's being looked for by both the Imperials and the Rebels. We don't know if he's good. We don't know if he's bad. We don't know why both parties are looking for this guy, but clearly he is of the utmost importance to the galactic cause, whether you be a rebel or an Imperial. So
I think I might have taken this to the bank the last time, but I'm still sticking to it. This dude is going to be the guy, either willing or not willing, that gives the Empire the secret to finish the Death Star's weapon.
Yeah, I mean,
we know the Death Star was being built way back during I mean, they got the plans in Attack of the Clones, and it was starting to be constructed soon after that. We saw the shell of it in the end of Revenge of the Sith. But I really feel like, as I said, maybe it's with a gun to his head or not, or maybe he's just bad and he's like, yeah, fucking A, let's do it. But I think that's what's going to drive Jyn to either right her father's wrongs or potentially try to go save him after hearing that he's been captured and he's made to basically create the galaxy's most devastating weapon of all time. All right, so I'm still working off this post, Nick, and I'm looking at the shot of that destroyer over that Citadel-looking thing.
Yeah.
And that is the same place as the first shot.
It is. You can actually...
I've double-checked it.
Like, if you look...
You have that tall structure, and then the walls, it matches exactly to the first shot.
Mm-hmm. If you look...
So that little spaceport sits on a mountain.
Yeah.
Which is kind of neat. Yeah.
Which makes sense, too, because, like, if you look at it kind of in, like you said, the mountainous regions of Tatooine that were kind of explored a little bit when we saw Jabba's palace, and then... like you said, when R2 kind of wandered off into the wastes, we know that Tatooine is definitely has mountainous regions. So it could be a section of Tatooine that we've never explored before, because obviously you have an entire planet. I mean, like you can't see an entire planet in the course of a couple of movies where we've been there. And then it's obvious, I think, when you're using a movie like this, when you're going back into a time period like this, you want to keep as many familiar things as possible, so people aren't completely like, okay, so we have a whole bunch of new characters, we have, this new storyline, and now we're on a new planet too. I think it's probably in their best interest to keep a few familiar things for the hardcore fans and for the casual fans alike, so you can point to something and say, oh, look, I know where they are. So
yeah, I mean, it could be. We know we're getting at least one new planet, and that's where the beach battle is going to go down, so who knows. All right, next shot, obviously, it's the one we already talked about. We get this Star Destroyer coming out of the shadow of space or from the shadow of the Death Star. Looks fucking beautiful. I'm just going to go out here and say this. There's another director who has made a few movies that have really upset a certain population of geek. But he's the same type of director. He has amazing visuals, amazing cinematography, amazing action. But sometimes the narrative and the characters feel a bit hollow, and that's Zack Snyder. And I think Gareth Edwards is that type of director. I mean, we were talking about his IMDb or whatever, his reels. He really doesn't have a lot out there that goes, yeah, this guy can tell a great story too.
Yeah, I mean,
we know he can shoot a fucking great looking movie. We just don't know if he can really tell the story, because I thought Godzilla was awful. I mean, the story was the worst part. I did not like it the first time I saw it. Second time, it was a little more justified with the action set behind it, but it wasn't good. The characters were done wrong. They whacked Walter White, at the first act. I mean, how do you get rid of fucking Cranston in a film that early? I mean, the guy's a goddamn genius. So
yeah,
whatever. we already know from this trailer that he's gonna produce at least a visually stunning movie. I just hope that the narrative weight is behind it too.
Yeah, and yeah, when you look at his IMDb page, he's got like 5 directorial credits prior to the Star Wars movie, which is definitely concerning. Most of his work has been done in the visual effects department, which, I mean, we see it, like we've been saying. We see the incredible visuals here. The one thing that I will say is, like, when you direct a Godzilla movie, like, generally the story to a Godzilla movie is regular
Oh,
goings on.
Godzilla!
Yeah, Godzilla shows up, all hell breaks loose, monster fight. Like, that's Godzilla's story in a nutshell. So, like, you don't really have a lot to work with there. When you're working within the Star Wars universe, you have a lot of narrative space to work with. Especially when you're doing a new project like this, you're only locked in by a certain number of things. So, like, again, we're going back to before episode 4 here. I mean, this is technically going to be, the first Star Wars movie that's going to launch kind of the original trilogy, if you think about it. So you have a lot of narrative space to work within. You also have a lot of interesting dynamic characters. Like we've said before, you not only have Jin and Cassian, which are 2 polar opposite characters. You have Cassian, who is the typical rebel commander or the rebel captain. He's probably going to be more of a by-the-book kind of guy. And then you have Jin, who is like the definition of a rebel, and not a rebel in the sense of like we're fighting against the Empire. She's fighting against everybody. Like, she has no allegiances. She has no code of honor that she really works by, at least from what we have seen. So you have these 2 characters that would seemingly butt heads with each other that are now working together. And then you have all of the other interesting characters like Donnie Yen's kind of, religious warrior type of character. You have Baze Malbis, who looks like he's just like this definition of a grizzled rebel veteran fighting against the Empire. So you have a lot of characters in there who can have a lot of awesome interactions with each other, a lot of dynamic storylines that play into their interactions. So I think that it's easier, for me, it would be easier to write and direct a story within the Star Wars universe than it would be within the Godzilla universe.
Yeah, hey. All we can do is hope for the best, dude. That's all we can do. But you're right. I mean, there isn't much story to tell in Godzilla besides smashing shit and bad dubbing and this, that, and the other thing. So, moving on to the next shot to kind of stand out. We already talked about Cassian Andor. It's not like he is Jin's caretaker. Maybe he is. Maybe in the background, Mon Mothma was like, hey, man, just, kind of watch out for this chick. She's a little nutty. But, like, hey, let's team up. And this is where they go off, and then they fly to this dark, watery planet, and they get Baze, and I believe his buddy is behind them. They're attacking something. And then we get a shot of my man Chirrut Imwe, and he talks about the Force. Remember, he is not a Jedi, but he believes in the Force. That's his religion, essentially, because he says to a group of stormtroopers, basically, I have no fear, motherfuckers. It doesn't matter if I can see or not. I know the Force has a plan for me. Bring it. And that's when he gets in there and starts kicking the shit out of him. Yeah, with his kendo stick.
I really like this character. Like, out of everybody in the movie, I mean, obviously, I really like the direction that they're taking all of the characters in, but I think Donnie Yen's character is going to be the most interesting.
Now, do you think he is going to have any ties to the Force outside of believing in it and it guiding his religious beliefs? I mean, does he potentially, can he sort of tap into it like Maz Kanata, or
I think
no, or is he just a believer and not Force sensitive? What do you think?
At the very most, I think it would be like his extent of Force usage would be like he can kind of use it as it would almost be like Daredevil.
Okay, all right, we're on the same page. I was going right there. I'm like Matt Murdock, right?
Yeah, so, exactly. Yeah. So at the very most, it would be that like he could kind of influence the Force, or he can see even though he's blind. So yeah, I mean that would be my assumption. But
We'll see. It'd be sweet if he like pulls out a fucking lightsaber. Oh yeah.
it's like,
All right,
Jedi
next
the
one.
whole
We
time.
get the first dialogue from this film's robot. It's not a Star Wars movie without starring robots. We're not going to have C-3PO and R2-D2, so we need another lead robot, and we get it in the form of K2SO, who's played by Alan Tudyk. Old Imperial droid, Nick. I mean, the insignia on the shoulder is very Imperial looking.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what it was. If you look at the background behind K2, the first thing that they said was he was a decommissioned Imperial attack droid that was kind of, I don't
So
know.
is he like an HK-47? You know him from
Yeah,
KOTOR, like an assassin droid? You think?
that's my assumption, is that he was kind of in the same vein of K2. I mean, of HK. And then he was I don't know if he was like abandoned or if he was stolen by the rebels and then
Right, reprogrammed.
reprogrammed. So yeah, I mean, he could definitely play a similar character to HK-47, which I think would be very interesting. And
Oh yeah,
obviously, like this is where, like, we heard the talk of levity and stuff like that. This is where the levity is going to come in to a certain extent. Because if you remember in the trailer, like, the first line that he says is like, "Oh, the captain says you are a friend. I will not kill you," and then just kind of walks off. It's like a funny little quip. So we'll see if there's gonna be.
he's very reminiscent of I forget his damn name. It might be 000. He's in the latest Darth Vader series of comics, and he plays a major role in it. But it's literally, think if R2-D2 and C-3PO were blood raving lunatic assassins.
Yeah.
But that droid has a very similar personality to K2SO, where he's like, he's very polite in droid speak, but he usually ends with, can I torture human flesh, or can I gas them out? Oh, please, master, that type of shit. So, yeah, I think old K2 definitely had some assassin lineage, if not murdering lineage of humans.
Yeah.
And he looks tall as fuck, unless Jyn Erso is just tiny.
Yeah.
Because she comes up to his navel.
Yeah, I think if you remember one of the shots from the original trailer where they're running through.
Oh yeah, he's a big
taller.
guy.
He's taller than everybody.
He's probably like, I mean, what do you think, pushing 7 foot?
I mean,
8 foot.
If Chewbacca was in this movie, he'd probably be Chewbacca height. Like,
Okay.
He'd be right about there, I would think. But yeah, I'm interested to see where this character goes, because I like the idea, and like, he even has, like, later in the trailer, he has another quip that he drops that's very similar to like a C-3PO line, like they're taking off in a ship, and he's like, there's a,
there's a 9% chance of survival or whatever, success.
Yeah, so
he's got a little protocol in him too. He's not just all attack bot, but
yeah,
it will be a different portrayal of a lead droid in a Star Wars movie, if that makes any sense. Because, I mean, really, the Goldenrod and the Rust Bucket have been our main droids. I mean, hell, the first 3 movies were essentially told from their point of view. I mean, they're huge characters. I mean, huge characters in the Star Wars universe. If you go back and watch those movies, dude, the rap between C-3PO and R2-D2 still makes me laugh, to this day. And I've seen the original movies hundreds of times a piece.
Oh yeah,
especially in A New Hope. I mean, C-3PO is just such a dick.
Yeah.
He's such an asshole to R2-D2, and you can tell R2-D2, he just fucking nudges him like they're almost like a couple.
Yeah,
it's like R2-D2 knows what gets under C-3PO's skin, so he'll push it as far as he can go, and then eventually C-3PO just starts dropping out the condescending tones. I love when I think they're doing the oil bath, and R2 makes the hologram go away of Leia, and Luke's like, "Yo, what the fuck?" And he leaves, and R2 says like, "Beep beep beep," and C-3PO is like, "No, I don't think he likes you, and I don't like you either." It's just like, what a fucking asshole. But so we're gonna get maybe not as protocol-ish, by the book, nerdy type of droid. I think he's going to be more of, it's almost going to be like if R2-D2's personality was in C-3PO's, what I think K2SO is going to be like.
Yeah, if he's going to play, I think that's going to be a good kind of,
because R2's a smart ass mother. I mean, he's a smart ass little astromech. He just is. He just is. And he's like BB-8. I thought he'd be kind of smart ass too, but BB-8, he's almost like a loyal pet.
Yeah, he's like a dog.
Droid.
Like
Yeah.
BB-8's like a cutesy little
he
like
loves
puppy that
loves
follows
Poe
him.
regardless. I mean, Poe is his man. He loves him, follows him like a dog.
Yeah, and then like if you look farther down in the trailer, like this is like one of the freeze frames that I looked at. It's in the post. Like you can see it's like a gathering of the team, and they're getting ready to go somewhere. They're on some sort of transport ship, and you have K2 that's way in the back, and then you have Baze, Chirrut, and then one other guy who's like looking back at him, almost like K2 just dropped another one of those like quips where it's like, dude, why would you say that? We're getting ready to go into a battle. Like, so he's gonna be the wisecracking kind of mix between C3PO, R2D2, and he's gonna play like the role that he's gonna play with Cassian is probably gonna be similar to Chewie with Han. So like that's probably gonna be a little bit of that relationship between those two, I would imagine.
All right, so moving off of K2, this is where we move into what I consider the two best shots of the trailer, and they'll probably end up being two of the best shots in the film. And as I study the second one again, it's still on that same planet as we've seen previously, because, Nick, if you look right underneath the sun that's being blotted out, you can see that citadel there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this, whatever desert planet this is, and Nick may be 100% correct, it very well could be Tatooine. Very well could be. I think a lot of the movie then is going to take place around Tatooine. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's the sun thing, and then all this shit's going on Tatooine, but then we get to A New Hope literally 10 minutes after this movie, and there's no major presence of Imperials on Tatooine. The only reason they're even on Tatooine is because of the droids escape there, and Vader dispatches them. But who knows? But the Death Star definitely is hovering around this planet. It's hanging out. Strong Imperial presence here. Something very important is on this desert planet. It could be Jin's dad. You never know. It could be a major, Imperial outpost.
You're right. I mean, dude, we could go back to Jakku for all we know. Yeah. I mean, obviously that's a newer desert planet that takes place way later in the Star Wars saga than this movie's taking place. But I mean, it's another established planet. It's on the Outer Rim. So, and then by that time on Jakku, there was obviously the Empire was already destroyed. There was a battle that took place over Jakku, but we don't know like what their history was with Imperial rule. So, and it's just like, at this point, how many different fucking desert planets can you bring into the series? So, like, that's my only concern.
Isn't something in New Hope or whatever where someone says something, maybe it's Kenobi or, the Imperials don't even fuck with the Outer Rim. They leave it up to the Hutts, essentially, and as long as the Hutts don't screw them over, they pretty much don't fuck with them, so...
Yeah, so
who knows? I'm fucking more eager just to find out what this goddamn planet is more than what's happening in the movie. Because this trailer was fucking centered on this planet. I mean, 75% of its shots were on, around, or in this planet. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, so we definitely need, and that could be like a reveal. I mean, I don't know if they want to hold that back and just let it be revealed in the movie, or if that's going to be a reveal closer to the release date. But I mean, this is a very central planet to what's happening here. And I could, now that like we're looking at it more, it could definitely not be Tatooine, because like you said, Ben Kenobi was like, they don't really fuck with the Outer Rim. They just kind of leave it because it's not really, there's really nothing of interest there for the Empire. So they just let it be controlled by the Hutts. And then obviously we don't have the two suns in this shot here. And then there's obviously other stuff too. So like, it could definitely be a different planet, a different desert planet that's closer to the core worlds where the Empire really needs to have a grasp on it. So You're right. But this shot, I mean, like the shot that we're talking about with the Death Star just kind of hovering over the planet. I mean, it's, again, like you said, it's a masterful shot by Edwards. I mean, like, if nothing else, I'll be able, like, if the story is, like, slightly off, I'll still be able to enjoy this movie because of all the fucking sweet-looking shots in it. So.
I feel like, I might be wrong from the get-go here, but I feel like that shot is of the Death Star moving into position to potentially do its first ever trial shot.
It
Like,
could
just the way he's framing it there, like it's this ominous thing floating over this planet. Then he cuts to planet level, and you see it blotting out the sun. That just to me spells doom and gloom. Here we go, boom. But didn't. I would hope you know this is escaping me right now, but in A New Hope, did they not say that Alderaan is the first test?
Yeah, Alderaan's definitely the first test. He said, well, yeah.
Yeah, we want to test out. Yeah, we want to test it out before we go to your lying ass rebel base that you just lied to us about.
Even in that, he said, now we get to see the full power of this fully operational Death Star. Like, so up until that point, it wasn't fully operational.
Well, yeah, the rebels didn't know it was fully operational yet.
So, like, you know, so you get to see the full kind of power of it unleashed on Alderaan. That was definitely the first test. Actually, when he says fully operational Death Star, that's episode 6. That was the Emperor. But, like, it's still, like, when Leia is talking to Grand Moff Tarkin, he does say that it's the first weapons test for the giant planet-destroying laser. So
maybe not. I could be wrong there. You know what? Maybe it's probably a stretch too. Maybe the desert planet is Dandaren.
Oh, Dantooine?
Oh yeah, Dantooine.
That's possible.
Because Leia lied to him, and Vader's, or eventually Tarkin's like, yeah, there was some rebel presence there, but they're long gone now.
Yeah, they're long gone. And he's like, Dantooine's way too remote. This does...
Yeah,
I mean, we don't know if it's a remote planet. We can't tell. We haven't seen its system or its the galaxy that it's within.
Well, I guess we'll just find out. We're not going to figure it out now. So moving on to the next shot, and I love this, and I'm digging this Ben Mendelsohn dude as director Orson Krennic. I like the shot. I like he looks like a dick. He looks like an asshole. And from the shot we have in the post, people, if you are listening to this and following through the post, hopefully you are, because it gives a little more visuals to our dialogue. You get the shot of Orson, and then you get this outward shot of just a ton of Imperial officers gathering on what I'm assuming is the Death Star bridge. And again, we see this deserty, rusty planet beneath them. I just feel like everyone's like, all right, we're going to fucking light this thing up. I don't know. I feel like we might get some sort of preliminary test in Rogue One, even though they don't actually blow a planet up until A New Hope.
Well, maybe that's one of the storylines. Like, they're going to blow up this planet, and then, like, you have Galen Erso, who has either been captured by the Imperials and who's being forced to implement his technology to help the laser blow up the planet, or whatever. He's, I think I don't want to say it's a safe assumption, but it's a pretty good assumption that he has something to make the Death Star fully functional.
Oh, I'm with that 1,000%. I mean, I've already taken it to the bank.
Yeah. So, like, what you could be seeing is, all right, if we go back up to the very top, we see what looks like a bunch of landers and TIE fighters flying off of this planet. Like, they're getting ready to take off. You have you have a Star Destroyer hovering over that planet. And again, if you look, there are many ships leaving this planet. Let's get
the fuck out of here.
Yeah, it's like so Krennic has told them, like, we're blowing this motherfucker up. Like, we have Erso. He supposedly has implemented his technology. We should be ready to go. So everybody get off, and we're going to blow this motherfucker to pieces. But then you have a situation to where perhaps, like, you see the look on Ben Mendelsohn's face. Like, maybe they were like, all right, flip the switch. They hit it, and nothing happens. Because he looks pretty pissed in that shot.
Yeah, I just feel like the sequence in this trailer was very, setting up this doom and gloom type of scenario involving the Death Star. So, and you could be right. It could be, all right, we're going to fucking flex our muscles, galaxy. And they're like, kind of like in Empire Strikes Back, every time Han tries to hit the hyperdrive on the Falcon, and it just fucking shits the bed.
Yeah.
That type of deal. All right, so the next shot, we get this first ever... it can't be first ever, because the Clone Wars tried to have big, grand battles on the ground. But this one looked cool, because it's not a bunch of fucking computer-animated robots and clones. We actually have Rebel soldiers. They're sporting the pimp-ass Rebel commando hats from Return of the Jedi. Right? Yeah. You got to pick up on that. And, it does. I mean, this, to me, it's fucking World War II. I mean, it looks like they're storming Normandy.
Yeah,
They're getting dropped off and they're running through water and just getting blasted.
yeah, I mean, and you have a serious presence from both sides. Like I said, in the background, you can see X-Wings flying in, probably doing strafing runs on the AT-ATs that are on the beach. I mean, you have heavy presence. You have ground troops from both sides. You have aerial support from both sides. Obviously, the Empire is going to have a bit of a advantage because of the AT-ATs, and you'll probably see some AT-STs there as well. So, like, this is going to be an all-out battle. Like you said, think World War II, Normandy. I mean, the rebels are storming the beach trying to take this. We don't know what they're fighting over there. That's going to be the interesting part. Like, what is this position? Like, is this a key position for the rebels to hold? Because this is giving them access somehow to the Death Star. Like, this is their offload point.
Yeah, I mean, dude, think about it. I think we're all assuming that they have to steal the plans from the Death Star. I mean, there could very well be an Imperial base that has the plans that they're going after.
It's very true.
Right? I mean, the plans the Death Star plans don't have to be physically located on the Death Star. I've just always assumed that they'll be making a run on the Death Star. And I could be wrong. I mean, it could be this beach planet is where the fucking plans are at, and that's why the main battle's going on there. Or that could be a distraction battle on part of the Rebel Alliance to pull as many Imperial forces there, so Jin's little, Navy SEAL type of group can go snag the plans.
I mean, that's a good point too. I mean, that's a good part about this battle is like we don't really know what's happening, but clearly it's the turning point, or it's a big moment in the film.
For a movie where we know the outcome, we know nothing about it.
Yeah.
I mean, we know what's going to happen in this film, but we don't know what's going to happen in this film, really. We don't. I mean, we just know the end.
Yeah. I mean,
and we don't even know the end. We just know that they succeed. So
yeah, they just get the plans. We don't know what happens to any of these characters. I mean, the only safe assumption that we make is, like, they all die. But we could be wrong there, too. I mean...
Yeah, exactly. All right, so next shot, as you say, it's the first time we get to check out, is it Riz Ahmed's character is Bodhi Rook. He's also sporting an Imperial patch. Maybe that's disguise. Maybe he's a defector. Because what? Oh, no, I'm thinking Star Wars Rebels Season 3, they're actually setting up the backstory. And I don't know if this was canon before, if they're reinventing the canon of Wedge. That Wedge was an Imperial pilot, one of their best, and he actually defected from his TIE Fighter squadron to join the Rebel Alliance.
I don't know if that was canon before, but if it's new canon, that's pretty awesome. Like, that's a pretty cool storyline to write.
Yeah.
So I'd be all for that.
Yeah, because, I mean, he was indoctrinated into the Empire, obviously stood out, but him and a few of his squadron mates do defect to the rebellion, so...
One of my initial thoughts about this character is that, like, I mean, he's a named guy, so he probably has to be in there.
Well, they said he's the premier Rebel pilot at this point in time. Like, he is the Luke Skywalker before they find Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, so
except he's not a Skywalker, and he's not full of the Force, but...
Yeah, he's not a Force user. He needs the targeting computer to be able to blow shit up.
he's good at flying. That's what we know.
Yeah, so my first thought was that it was definitely a disguise. Like, he was part of the assault group. I don't want to say assault group, but he was part of the group that's going into the Death Star. Yeah. Like, he needs to look like a mechanic.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, they look kind of like maintenance men, so.
Yeah, so that was my first thought about it. And then right when, like, this freeze frame that's in the article that we're looking at, that's on entertainmentbuddha.com, is that's right after K2 drops his line, like, we have a 9% chance of surviving this.
Yep. All right, then we get to see, it looks like a strafing run, probably sending in the X-Wings to blow up some key defenses before the ground troops come in. I'm just assuming, Nick, now that these night rainy shots are on the beach planet, and that this is all part of the raid, or maybe it's a raid on another planet to set up the raid on the beach planet. Who knows? That's the beauty of speculation.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, if you look up, it looks very similar to the planet that Baze Malbis was on when he gets his first little shot in this trailer. So it looks very similar, so I don't know if this is possibly
Earlier in the movie, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say this could be an out of order shot where this is another rebel attack on a different planet. This could be when Cassian and Jin are kind of helping Baze do whatever he needs to do before he can join them on their little run.
Yeah, I'm sure all these are going to be tit for tat meetings, right? Where they go recruit somebody and somebody's like, oh, yeah, well, I'll help you if you help me do this.
Yeah, exactly. The only person that's probably not going to be like that is Chirrut, because he's for the cause. He's like, he might...
they've even said, like,
chance.
Him and Baze are like, they're homies. They're Han and Chewie, and essentially... Baze is the Chewie to Chirrut's Han. He's Baze is kind of the protector of Chirrut, whatever the fuck you say his name, Chirrut.
Yeah. So,
he thinks Chirrut's belief in the Force is stupid and archaic and hokey, but he respects his buddy and he's going to protect him.
Yeah, it's very similar to Han when he first met Luke. He's like, "You believe in that bullshit? Right. All right, whatever." Right. But
well, then we find out that Han eventually fully believes in it and actually has a Force-sensitive kid of his own. So
yeah, marries a Force-sensitive woman who ended up being a Jedi in the old EU, now not a Jedi. But so Han buys in. He buys into it, and that could be a similar kind of thing that happens to Baze. We don't know, but maybe Chirrut pulls off some fucking ridiculous shit, and Baze is like, maybe this Force stuff is more real than I thought it was.
It'd be sweet if he shoots laser beams out of his blind eyes. Like Superman.
Yeah. Goes full Superman, goes Cyclops, something like that. That'd be ridiculous.
Next shot, another great Edward shot here, and this is one of Baze with a little shoulder-mounted rocket launcher shooting it at the... These aren't the same AT-ATs we know from Empire Strikes Back. They are a different breed of AT-AT. I don't know if they're called AT-ATs or if they're something different, but they are different models of the AT-AT.
Yeah, they could be earlier versions, because obviously once we get to Hoth in Episode 5, we're a little bit farther along.
Not much. Yeah, 3 to 5 years tops, I'd say.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So we're like a few years off of here, so maybe they've made some improvements. Maybe this battle showed them, like, hey, we need to beef up these things because they took them down a little easier
like
than
you
we
can tell
thought.
that the heads are a little bit shaped differently. The body, it seems, is kind of
taller.
Yeah, it's taller, and it kind of angles into a tent-like structure, where the ones in Empire, they're very rectangular. I mean, they're very boxy.
They're more boxy. Yeah, they're definitely more boxy. The thing that I like about this shot is that, like, again, this is another thing that's just like a small thing to me, but it looks really cool. Like when the impact of the rocket actually like makes the head of the AT-AT.
Well, I was gonna say,
kind of, like,
if you even look at it, the AT-AT looks like a living being, and that's beautiful. I mean, it actually looks at Baze when he fires, and like you said, it's like a boxer getting punched in the jaw. It's like, just kind of like fucking shakes it off, like, ugh. But they do. I don't know about you, Nick, but the AT-AT is by far my favorite Star Wars vehicle of all time. I've been infatuated with it. The first time I saw them land on Hoth and take out the rebels there, I just absolutely love the design of the AT-AT. So I'm a big fan, but I like how it looks. I mean, it looks like a fucking dinosaur. It does.
Yeah, and especially like when you're looking at it and you look down, it's amongst the trees. Like I was almost gonna say, like that feels like a Jurassic Park type shot, because like if you remember like the Jurassic Park movies, you have like the T-Rex and shit like coming out of the trees to kind of assault the people.
The T-Rex compared to this would go up to like its first part of its leg joint. That's how big these motherfuckers are. Yeah,
but it's definitely like, you're right. It does have like a.
I've always been, awesome. When I was little, I always sided with the obviously the good guys. But the older I got, I love the Imperial design aesthetic over the Rebellion. I love the TIE fighters, the Star Destroyers, the AT-ATs, the Interceptor. But the Rebels, and they're not really. I mean, outside the X-wing. You gotta love the Millennium Falcon, obviously.
Oh yeah, the Falcon. I mean, and obviously too, when we're looking at the difference between the the ships in the Empire and in the Rebellion. I mean, like the Empire had
Right.
pretty much unlimited
shipyards,
resources.
exactly, where the
Yeah.
rebels were essentially either reappropriating old separatist and Republic technology, or they're just kind of piecemealing shit together that they can get from sympathetic systems.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I know. I love the fucking Empire. I mean, these days I'm dark side 100%.
And then when you get like just the introduction to the AT-ATs in episode 5 was like so incredible, because it's like you're gearing up for this battle. Obviously you have the Imperial fleet that's hanging right above the surface of Hoth, ready for like the evacuation of all the people so they can just intercept them and blow them to smithereens. And then the ground battle, all of a sudden you see these massive AT-ATs just come out of
the first shot that
the
the nameless rebel soldier has his little binocs, and he looks, and it's like this big zoomed in foot, and they pull back, and you're like, oh shit, how the fuck did those get down there?
Yeah, it's like, this is definitely not going to go well.
Just the sound
for the
like that,
and it's
clang. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the opening of Empire is the best. I mean, that whole opening up until they evacuate Hoth is just pure Star Wars sex.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Next shot here, another beautiful shot. Nick, what do you think? Is this mysterious desert planet potentially getting eradicated by a weapons test? Or, I mean, because it looks like that desert planet, and it looks like it's literally folding in on itself.
Yeah, it's definitely... I would assume that it's the same desert planet. I mean, it's gotta be, right? Like,
and that's Jin in the cap, right? In that little ship.
Yeah, that's Jin and Cassian trying to get out of whatever's happening here. So, like, maybe the weapons test was successful. Maybe...
maybe that's what it looks like if you're on the planet when it's getting blown up. Although, obviously in A New Hope, it's like, we're also talking 1975, 76, 77 film technology. It's like, boom, and it's just fucking gone. Yeah, it's like,
evaporation. There was no, nothing falls apart on the planet. The planet just disappears.
It's space dust in one shot. Yeah, but I mean, obviously there's a major event taking place that's probably not natural.
Yeah, definitely. And we don't know if that's caused by the Death Star. We don't know if this is just the Imperials now decided to let's jump the entire fleet in and just blow the fuck out of this planet. Right. So we don't know how it's happening, but it's clear. And to me, this, if you're looking at the article, this still frame does not do this shot justice.
No, it's a series of, you get to see them in the cockpit with the shit coming down on them, then this pulled out view, and them kind of trying to snake through it.
Yeah, it's an incredible shot. So watch that in the trailer, and I was that almost dropped my jaw. How incredible it looked. It was very impressive. Very impressive.
Well, then it was followed up with this next great shot where you have an Imperial vehicle almost taking on an organic personality. We have Jin, and you say she might be on the Death Star. They're definitely on, it looks to me like the beach planet. Could be a landing platform, something like that.
It's some kind of spire. Yeah. I don't know if it's an exterior.
And if you notice, she's limping a bit, so this could very well be a tail end type of shot where, the movie's almost over. I mean, fuck, that could be Darth Vader in that TIE fighter for all we know.
It could be, yeah.
I doubt it, but it could be. It just seems odd that a TIE pilot would have enough gumption to track down the heroine in a one-on-one duel. It just seems like there's someone a bit more important in there than a nameless TIE pilot.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense, because unless this is just a one-off encounter where she sees it and then runs back, but that would be weird to me. It's definitely a moment.
Yeah, she's been through some shit before this shot, like I said, because she's dragging ass walking out of that platform, but she's also pissed. All right, motherfuckers, let's do this. I already, almost died 10 times. You know what? Fuck you, TIE fighter. Bring it.
Yeah, so that's definitely going to be an interesting encounter whenever we see it in the movie. But Yeah, you're right. It's definitely on the desert planet. I don't know where it is. Maybe it's on some kind of. It could be on a different ship. It could be on the Death Star. It could
No,
be
I
maybe
think the
like.
Jin shot is on the beach planet because if you can look in the background, I'm thinking that's water and sand down there versus
Yeah, it's
the rusty
definitely.
planet that we think's getting blown up in the shot before it.
Yeah, it's definitely on the beach planet. I just don't know where she could be unless it's like a facility that's on the beach
Yeah, well,
planet.
like I said, just some sort of landing platform. You know, kind of like where Vader took Luke to transport him up to the Death Star.
On Endor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like get an
yeah.
Imperial shuttle and then lift up to the Death Star. But who knows? Next shot. These are our heroes. Everyone's been gathered. This is presumably going into their final mission, which is to get the plans. So it's just nice to see everyone. I mean, it looks like a lot of background extras in there, but you know you got K2, Chira Bays. I can't tell if that's Bodhi there, but you got the main crew in there, and then obviously Jin is standing at the back of it, like, "All right, motherfuckers, here we go. This is it. You
Yep.
with me? We're all probably gonna die. Peace."
Yeah.
And then obviously we end with the shot most of us were looking for, and that is
Yeah.
of my man who has been spoiled a bit, ruined a bit, thanks to the prequels, but I still love this guy. Still one of my favorite movie villains, movie characters of all time, Darth Vader, staring at the Death Star's essentially its targeting screen, correct? I mean, we've seen that
Yeah,
before
we've seen it.
when the gunners are down there getting ready to shoot.
Yeah, I mean, this is the same. It's a very similar view to like what we saw in episode
Well,
four,
yeah, where they're
kind
like
of. I
fire
think.
when
Yeah.
ready, and they're like, and you see the dudes
Yep.
almost wearing Vader style helmets, like blah blah blah, you know, pushing all the fucking buttons and blah. See ya. So he's on the Death Star at least in this shot, I believe.
Yeah, for sure. Unless they have this a similar screen in another facility, but he's definitely on the Death Star. We get the iconic respirator breathing.
Do you think?
Um,
Do you think this was the best reveal shot for him? I mean, it's great to not be super spoilery. I don't know how we can say Darth Vader is spoilery. We've seen him, we know him, we love him, but he doesn't look imposing in this shot. He almost looks diminutive, doesn't he? I mean, his shoulders don't seem as broad, but
yeah, I was gonna say he looks like he's slumped over, like his
yeah,
shoulders are very
it
low.
looks like a little fucking kid with bad posture wearing Vader helmet staring at the board. But that could be the coloring, and there really isn't much contrast because the background obviously is black with his black, so it washes most of them out. He just doesn't
Yeah.
look like David Prowse.
No, he definitely does not have that same stature.
He doesn't even look like
So
fucking Hayden Christensen's Darth Vader. And the dude they have playing him is a big guy. It's the dude from Guardians of the Galaxy that steals Star Lord's fucking Walkman.
yeah,
So
yeah, he's a
he's
big
not a
dude.
little
So
guy.
like maybe he's I don't know, maybe it is definitely weird now that you
I think
talk
it's the
about it.
contrast. I really think it's the lack of contrast. It's really because we don't get his lines fully defined.
Yeah,
But yeah, he
I would
looks
have
like kind of
liked
a
like a
schlub.
yeah. I would have liked to see a profile shot more, so like you get his mask in there too, at least some of it. But
Or like him just waist down lighting his lightsaber,
that would be
like
pretty
out in the
sweet too.
rain, fucking.
I mean, I would assume that like I don't know when this like again, it's so hard to piece together the chronology of this trailer, but like I would imagine that there is going to be some kind of like there has to be a moment to where they come together, like the rebel band and
Oh
then
yeah, well
Vader,
if you
whether
believe
that be
Kathleen
on
Kennedy, she more or less said, yeah, Vader's in the movie sparingly, but at the most important time.
yeah, so maybe
So
and like we talked about this a little bit before, but like whether he's going to be on the Death Star exclusively or if he leaves, like he has to like it has to be a moment to either where like they feel like they're going to succeed, like the rebels are like we have it. This is it like we're on our ship or like we're getting to our ship and then Vader shows up or like there's a moment of despair that is just heightened by like Darth Vader showing up.
I don't know. I
So
can't wait. I mean, I know his first scene in this movie is gonna give me a hard on, or at least titty hard on. at the very least.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be fucking amazing to see him back in a movie again. I mean, obviously we saw him at the end of episode 3, but that was just like so ruined.
No,
So ruined.
it's that
So,
could
like,
have been
is...
Palpatine picking him up on the planet through the end could have redeemed the entire fucking prequel mess.
To me,
and
like,
they fucked that up too with that goddamn no. What do
you
mean?
I
Padme?
I felt her. To me, you end it right with the first breath.
Oh yeah,
like
that was
the
beautiful.
perfect time to end it.
Because you can still see Anakin, like he just doesn't know what the fuck's happening. Everything happened so fast. He's scared, and he's in pure pain when they're essentially soldering on his new limbs. I mean, they get those robots that are attaching new legs, new arms, new essentially chest, lungs, everything. And you can tell he's just a pained character. And then you see from his point of view the inside of the mask, which was awesome. And then you hear it seal. It's like, and then you just see that. And there's
and like, that's it. That's all you needed, because that's the transformation that you needed to see.
Yeah, it's his first breath. It's Anakin's last breath as Anakin, and Vader's first breath as Vader.
Yep. So like, if Disney, if you want to do something. If you want to go and reboot the prequels, and I've actually seen like a lot of, well, not a lot, but a few articles popping up here and there, like, should Disney reboot the prequels?
They'll never do it.
If you don't want to,
I guarantee it was like some language in the deal that they'll never be able to touch any of George's shit.
Probably so, unless it's like timed, like you can't touch it while he's alive, like, or something like that. But like, if you want to at least spruce it up, go to that sequence right there. Cut out that shit where he comes up and busts off of the fucking thing like Frankenstein and then does the no. Cut it right at the breath, and then you'll have the perfect transformation sequence.
I think his display of raw force power was great. It's just having him talk like a dope and then literally clunkily get off that platform like
yeah.
Blah. I know they're trying to sell like this is an individual trying to relearn how to move because they just lost all their appendages, but it like anything in the prequels, it was probably poorly directed, poorly acted, poorly executed. So
yeah, but this one,
I think he's gonna be good, even if he's in there for a total of 5 minutes. I think this could be the vintage Vader we all know and love from the original trilogy, where again he wasn't. I mean, if you think about Vader's use in A New Hope, he's sparingly used. I mean, there's splashes of him. I mean,
he's barely in it, really, if you think about it. I mean, like, obviously the big moment is
the Obi-Wan
the fight between him and Obi-Wan, but I mean, other than that, it's not.
Yeah, but outside, he has no clue that Luke exists. He's not clued in any of that. I mean, he's literally 100% focused on the failings of the Empire in the movie we're about to see this December.
Yeah, I mean,
he's been dispatched to go clean up the fucking mess, or clean up the mess he's partly responsible for.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think that this is going to be, like, his redeeming moment.
I want to see him do what he can do. Like, I want to see what we've seen him do in the video games and in the new comic books, which are canon. I'm telling you, in the new comic books and the Vader Down run, he takes on an entire squadron by himself. I'm talking, I think, 20 or 30 Rebellion starfighters by himself. The only reason he gets downed is because Luke fucking plays chicken with him, and they run into each other. So they crash over a planet. They both land. They're separated. Vader is surrounded by a battalion. We're not talking a platoon, a squad, a battalion of rebels, and he takes them out by himself. I mean, fucking throwing tanks, crushing tanks, just waving off legions of troops. That's what I want to see. Hopefully we get just a smidgen of that, because if we do, I'm going to stand up my seat and I'm going to say, fuck yeah. So you definitely don't want to be in my screening.
At the very least, if he doesn't ignite his lightsaber, I'm going to be very upset.
You know what? I can even handle if he's just showing us his raw force skills. I want him to be mean, because we have not seen the Vader who Vader could have been. Because back in the original trilogy, they kind of wrote it off as, we didn't really have the the vicious sword fights because we wanted to make it like, the all that, the Jedi, Sith, all those traditions were dead at that point. No one really kept up with lightsaber or duels in general. But I mean, the fights were slow as shit. I mean, the Obi-Wan fight is a joke. The fight
Yeah.
with Luke got better, but it's still Vader. I mean, that's just who Vader was. He's a fucking beast. He's just sitting there, not even
Yeah.
trying. Like, eh.
I mean, the only good fight in the original trilogy is the final fight in Episode 6.
That's just because of the
between
emotional
Vader.
weight it packs. I mean, to me,
Yeah.
I know a lot of people don't like Jedi. It's always been my favorite. I mean, I was also 3-4 when it came out, so I'm kind of like the nudniks that like the prequels, like Nick and all his youngins. I'm just kidding. It's not you. It's about kids that are born 8 years after you that actually think the prequels are good. But anyways, I mean that the showdown between Luke and his dad, and then the Emperor just trying to play on that, and their strong affinity to the Force and their ability to be pulled to both sides. It's beautiful. I mean, that is a beautiful fucking scene, ruined again by a Lucas over edit. I mean, to this, I can't anymore. I don't have this reaction to it, but every time I saw that scene where Luke finally wins the will of the Force and says, "You know what? Fuck you, Emperor. You see this? I'm not going to murder my dad because he's still good. I'm a Jedi. Jedi don't murder. Suck my dick." And Palpatine's like, "Well, fuck, he's right. I lost this one, so I'll just kill the fuck." So he starts just frying them to death. I mean, he's cooking them. And you can just see with no... I mean, obviously, he just has a mask, but you didn't need to see his facial expressions.
Exactly.
You could see that it was hurting Vader. He was finally Anakin again, and he was watching his son get murdered right in front of him because he was too fucking stupid to do something. And he's the one that put the Emperor and gave him all this power in the first place. And he finally realized, like, shit, did I fuck up? Was I a fool to let this guy trick me into thinking he could give me the world and promise me all this power so I could be his henchman? I'm going to kill him. I'm going to save my son redeem me. Beautiful. I mean, tear-worthy. And now it's fucking destroyed because, hey, let's dub in, no! What the fuck?
Don't they have demastered versions of the original trilogy
like legit.
out now?
I mean, not
legit.
I mean, everyone wants Disney to release the goddamn OGs and Blu-ray. OGs.
Yeah.
No fucking special edition. Fuck it all.
Like, I would love OG, like, just not even 1992 remaster, but I would take 92 remaster. Like, wasn't it 92? That the first remaster? 96?
Yeah, I mean, he just added some shit to A New Hope. Fine. Really, I mean, he just wanted some shots in there. Worst thing in there is the fucking Jabba encounter in the hangar. It's so fucking stupid. Jabba's like my size. He's walking. They had to make it look like Han stepped on his tail because in the original shoot it was just some big fat white guy wearing a cloak who was supposed to be Jabba.
Was that 96?
Yeah, those were the special editions.
That was okay. Yeah. Wow, I didn't remember that in the 96 one. Okay,
yeah.
Well then, yeah, just bring it back.
Then,
just bring it all the way back.
In Empire, I don't think they changed Dick. I mean, I think Empire is very, outside of sprucing up the colors and sound, is untouched. Jedi is another one that even, I mean, yeah, we have the now like third version of Jedi, which is just complete trash because of George. But even the special edition ones, to me, Jedi, they fucked up the Ewok celebration.
Yeah, because
96 when they put that.
96 wasn't the one where they put the planets in.
Yeah, it was.
There was no way, because 99 is when Episode 1 released.
Yeah, but that is... The special editions and his ability to create those shots are what convinced him that he could now make a full CG movie. And that's why they went into the prequels.
Okay, so maybe...
Really, the most recent edition is the one where he fucking dubs the no in. Outside of that, it's still...
Yeah, he puts the no in, and then... See, like, I thought that the Jabba scene was added with the newest remake, but no, you're probably okay. Yeah,
I mean, most of the changes were done with those 96 re-releases, and A New Hope and Jedi just get I mean, A New Hope, we fine, just minuscule stuff, but to me, Jedi gets butchered, and it's stupid. Yeah. I love the fucking Yub Nub song. I fucking love it. I
Yeah,
love when they're
I
sitting
mean,
there
okay,
pounding on the stormtrooper helmets, and it's in time with the song, and then it just goes la 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 la, and it breaks into the dee 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 dee, the end.
it was
It's
great. It
awesome.
was great. And then like you have the final.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
now
I mean like that whole celebration thing was great.
because the new song they use, it doesn't even match the fucking scene. I mean, just it doesn't even match it. It sounds like someone playing Ewok jungle
It's
music in their house and playing it over
yeah.
shots of Ewok jungle. It didn't where the Yub Nub song actually sounded like the fucking Ewoks were jamming, celebrating, beating on helmets.
Yeah. Okay, you see this is where I'm getting confused. Is because my original I had
There's the special editions, then there's the Blu-ray edits. And the
but I'm talking like even before like when DVD first came out, one of the first DVD box sets I got was the original trilogy box set. And like that had none of like it didn't have Jabba.
Well, I
It
know the
didn't
one you're
have
talking about, and it's one that's worth keeping. And I think I know it's the one you're talking about. It's the DVD that has the special editions and the original theatrical cuts.
Okay, that might be it then, because I haven't looked at them. They're still at my fucking house
Dude,
back in
they're
Louisiana.
unwatchable. I
So,
tried
like,
putting in the, just to watch the theatrical cut of A New Hope, and it's like 380p quality. I mean, it's not even SD. It's like the
Yeah.
picture size is, it's 4:3. So if you have a huge TV, it doesn't even work. But I'll never get rid of those because that's the only digital format of the uncut, untouched original films.
well, you see, that's what I had because I haven't watched them in such a long time. Because when I first got a DVD player, I had a 4:3 TV, so like I would watch that shit on
Yeah,
there
they're
all the
money.
time, and it fit
Yeah.
perfectly. Like it worked like really well. But then when the Blu-rays came out, obviously I jumped.
That's
on
the
that
thing, and
really
we've been
quickly.
in HD land for almost 10 years now. So when you go back and look at it, a pure SD video output, it's vomit. It's vomit.
Yeah,
Like
so
it's just intolerable.
that's where my confusion came in because most of my childhood was spent watching the non-special editions, like the original theatrical
Oh,
releases.
me too. I mean, shit. I was 16 when
So-
when the special editions came out, and I was jacked because fuck, Star Wars is back in the theater, and he's putting new shit
Yeah.
in. I mean, I was at that point in time, I was excited. I didn't mind the shit in A New Hope. I thought it did kind of flesh it out a bit more. He hardly touched Empire. It was Jedi was the first time, especially the other scene he fucked up his Jabba's palace. I mean that fucking song they put in there, that
that's
goofy ass, that
terrible.
full CG character they made Snice Noodles full CG before she was a puppet. That song's just fucking stupid. Boba Fett's in there like flirting with the singers. It's just so corny.
Yeah, that was really bad.
Fuck, I'm getting
I-
pissed. We need to end this shit.
Yeah. But I mean, overall, this trailer was literally everything that I wanted to see out of this movie.
So
I don't know.
no, I
about you,
think visually we're in for a treat. I'm still not sold on if this guy can tell a cohesive tale, but as you said, there's so much Star Wars muscle in these projects. I don't think it's gonna be a shit story. I mean, there's no way, because there is no shit Star Wars story yet, in my opinion. Even the fucking shitty Christmas special from way back when, or
Life.
did
Day.
you ever watch
Life
the
Day.
the Ewok spin-offs with Sindel and them? And you've never
No.
seen those? They're like live action. I think they're like TV movie live action, where the Ewoks help this family that gets trapped on a planet. And I'll look it up. I'll look it
No,
up and send you
I've
links
never
because you
seen
got
it.
to check them out. Because it's something I remember I've watched a million times because it was Star Wars related when I was little. So it definitely
I
It
remember
definitely
watching-
doesn't hold up to this day. But if you've never seen it, you got to check them out.
Yeah, for sure. I remember the first time I saw the Life Day special was probably 9-10 years ago now, and I saw it like with all of the original commercials still in it. That was great. Like, oh my god, it was just so not good that it was good to watch. Like,
Oh yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah, Sindel Tawani. What the hell was this from? Yeah, Ewoks: A Battle for Endor. It was a TV movie. 1985.
85.
There's actually two of them.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure there's two of them.
So that was like George still feeling the Star Wars fever right after releasing.
I don't even know if he did.
Jedi.
I'm gonna send you the IMDb link, and those of you listening right now know this is exciting. So you can see everything. But yeah, the Battle for Endor. This is what I watched the living shit out of this one because I think Jim Henson's involved. There's a lot of puppets and crap.
Well, yeah, I mean I think Henson was involved in the Life Day, and if you people listening have never seen the Life Day special, if you haven't seen this, what Matt's talking about right now, the Ewoks Battle for Endor, go ahead and give it a look. Because, I mean, the Life Day special is worth watching just to see, like, how that happened. Like, what the fuck was going on. Look at this, man. Look at this cast. I mean, obviously you have Warwick Davis.
Yeah. Wilford Brimley.
Wilford Brimley.
Dude, no, I can't believe you don't know this, man.
Wow, man. No,
Sindel,
I mean, like,
Sindel's the little girl. Teek's like this new little monster deal.
Wow, okay. Yeah, I mean, like, I considered myself a Star Wars fanatic.
Yeah,
like,
you gotta look this up and watch it then.
Yeah, I definitely need to get in on this. But awesome stuff, yeah, for sure.
All right, people. Well, again, just another rest in peace to our buddy, our droid, our pal, R2D2, Kenny Baker, man. We appreciate your contributions to the Star Wars universe. R2's little head swivels and body shakes would never have felt as real as they did without you.
100%, man. It's a sad day. Rest in peace, Kenny Baker.
Yeah, his Force ghost is with the rest of them now. So, all right, people. Hopefully you enjoyed our ramblings. Again, you can always check up entertainmentboo.com where we're writing some Star Wars stuff these days because it's fun again. It's fun to write about this shit. It's fun to speculate on it. That's why we do what we do. So stay tuned for more. We should be back to our bi-weekly schedule. Vacations are over. Real life is back. Boo hiss ya. All right. May the Force be with you always.